Hi, I'm Rebecca Waterston, and I'm a mental health counselor. I work with Fourth Dimension Counseling, and I want to tell you a little bit about some of my specialties. I am ABSAT trained to work with partners of sex addicts. I have a substance abuse background and licensure, and of course the mental health. I have done quite a bit of trauma work and do some of that with both lifespan integration therapy and hypnotherapy. I've done some Gottman training for couples and some other areas, and just kind of it ends up being kind of what fits the client. What does the client need? And so I'll pull from that rather than try to fit a client into a specific niche of a theory. Start kind of from the early stages of working with women, and I really enjoy working with women a great deal. I love to see them start to go through therapy, begin to trust themselves, their eyes light up, they're beginning to feel good about themselves, have some self-esteem, which helps them be able to make boundaries that can be helpful for them. It helps them trust their own judgment and learn what their values are, what kind of people they want in their life. Perhaps some areas where they are in situations or even relationships that aren't as helpful to them as it could be. Working with young women from maybe the ages of 14 to 19, the stress in schools today, high school, is tremendous. These kids are dealing with not only much higher levels of academics, but also social pressure that is so much worse and continues to be worse with social media. Bullying in school, which is really, really sad. Different kinds of groups that might make them feel unwelcome. So sometimes it's just a matter of working with them to begin to believe that they deserve to be where they are, that they deserve to take the space on earth that they do. They don't have to apologize for anything. I like to work with these young women in terms of trusting their gut, trusting their values, really learning what their values are, and dealing with some of the stresses, dealing with academics. I can work with some of that in terms of just different ways of studying, different ways of changing subjects throughout your studying so that your brain doesn't get tired. And just walking alongside those women young women is a great pleasure, and to see them go from high school then into college, and by their third year of college they really have grown into themselves, and I might see them when they come home during the summer. Young women in their 20s might have long-term partners, or they might be married, some might have children. But they're at the beginning of career stages. Who am I in the career world, or whatever their occupation is? How can I help them feel more secure with themselves in those areas? Relationships are always a really big thing for women at that age, learning how do I have a good relationship? How do I communicate with my partner? Where do we go next, and how do I become comfortable with myself in making those choices? Is it really lifelong choices? I want to move a little bit to working with partners of sex addicts. As I said, I'm ABSAT trained to work with partners of sex addicts that are in recovery most of the time. And these women have been through a great deal of trauma. They have been really almost brutalized by some knowledge that they had no idea of something that was going on, and they don't know how to feel about it. They oftentimes blame themselves, and they wonder what they did wrong that this would have happened. So I do some training on really what addiction is all about. It's sex addiction. It's an addiction that is addiction, period. It fits in with the same way that addiction works in the brain, with alcoholism, drug addiction, gambling, There's process addictions and there's substance addictions, and this is a process addiction, but I really fill them in on how that works so that they're understanding that this isn't their fault. We work on the trauma, we work on getting past the trauma. We try to calm down the limbic system so that there's not that fight, flight, freeze reaction that can happen so easily and so quickly when they're triggered. So I love working with those women, and usually that's individual work or it's group work. Group work is wonderful for it because they have other women that are in the same kind of situation as them. They're not alone. They realize that not being alone, having other people who understand you is a wonderful thing for them in group, and I see them teach each other so very much. Working with women in a little later stage, 30s, 40s now, they may be mothers, they may be dealing with some real communication problems with either at work or maybe with a long-term partner or a husband. And so that might be an area where we begin to look at, maybe it's a couples counseling that we need to do, or maybe it's individual, maybe the woman is dealing with going through a divorce, a separation. How does she do that? How does she make a new life? How does she think about herself now? Where does she fit in life, basically? Women of all ages, 40, 50, beyond, empty nesting, no longer having that title of, active mom. So who am I now? Well, where do I go now? How do I make my life fulfilling in a way that I didn't have the chance to do when my children were young? So working with those women, and again, that's kind of a walking alongside them and kind of helping them learn that they're okay just where they are. So those are a few of the areas. I also work in some substance abuse and can work with men and women who are in early recovery, or maybe they've been recovered for a while, they've been sober for a while, and now they're kind of trying to figure out how to make life work better for them. Oftentimes in substance abuse, they didn't get the early training or modeling of how to do life. So now they're learning that all over again, or something they actually never learned. So I like to walk alongside with them with that learning, and how do I build on this. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, I love watching people grow and learn. I love seeing the lights come on where they feel comfortable in their own skin, and by that time we know that we've accomplished what we were hoping to accomplish with them. So thanks for listening, and give us a call. We've got a lot of people that have different kinds of abilities, so give us a call, and I look forward to meeting you. Thanks.